I'm going to give you over 11 years of web design knowledge in just 7 minutes. No fluff, just the good stuff. You can basically boil all the design knowledge that you need to build great websites down to just 4 things: layout, color, typography, and images. That's it. If you can get these down, you'll know just about everything that you need to know to be a good web designer. You've probably heard it said before that people read websites in somewhat of an F pattern. So they start at the top left, then they go right, come back, go down a little bit, do that again, and then just keep doing that until they hit the next section. But here's the truth. That's actually bogus. It's outdated information that web designers just kind of keep repeating, and so everybody thinks that it's true. I might have been one of those web designers, and for that, I apologize. The truth is that people engage with websites in all sorts of different patterns, and forcing them to pay attention in an F pattern might actually cause them to miss something. So what do you do instead? You use something called visual hierarchy. You've probably seen an image like this before, where there's this big bold headline that says you'll read this first, and a smaller headline that says then this, and maybe if you're paying really close attention, you'll see this little text down in the corner. That is visual hierarchy. So for every section that you're creating, ask yourself 3 questions. Where does my eye land first? What gets noticed second? And what gets completely missed? And to test it, show it to someone for a few seconds and ask them what they remember in order. If the most important stuff gets missed, then you gotta go back and try to fix it. For your call to action or your buttons, you wanna make sure that they stand out from everything else on the website, because the main thing that we want people to do is click a button. And if the buttons don't stand out, it's gonna make it a lot tougher for people to do that. And please, I beg of you, stop using ghost buttons for your primary call to action. What are ghost buttons? They're buttons that just have an outline without a solid background. The problem is that people don't see them and they don't click on them. For colors, every website should have a color palette that matches the brand of the website owner. But here's a few important things that you need to consider. First, accessibility. If you pick colors that make it difficult for people to read text or tough to see elements clearly, it's going to be hard for users to engage. You want colors that have a high enough contrast that even users with visual impairments are still going to be able to see things clearly. How do you know if a contrast is high enough? Something that I like to use is a website called coolers.co. You can actually take all of the brand colors from a website, input it into the dashboard, click on the color contrast teller, and it will instantly tell you which colors pass and which don't. It's a super helpful tool. Another good rule of thumb is something called the 60-30-10 rule. About 60% of your site should be your background color, so grays, blacks, and whites. 30% should be things like text and cards. And that last 10% should be your accent color, the stuff that you want to stand out, like buttons. Then there's typography. Typography is one of the most underrated design elements of a website, but it has a massive impact on the readability and user experience because of just how much of it there is. Thankfully, there's a ton of options to choose from. There's serifs, sans serifs, handwritten, scripts, display, monospace, and the list goes on and on. But don't overcomplicate it. Pick 1, maybe 2 typefaces, and don't be afraid to go with ones that are tried and true. There was a designer named Massimo Vignelli who said, in the new computer age, the proliferation of typefaces represents a new level of visual pollution. Out of thousands of typefaces, all we need are a few basic ones, and you can trash the rest. Pretty bold statement, but he made his very tenured design career off of just 6 typefaces. So we might all be overthinking it a bit. There are 3 main text elements to consider for your website. You got your H1 or your main headers, and these should be the biggest, most prominent text on the page. This is going to describe what the entire page is all about. Then you've got your H2 or your subheading, and these act as ways to kind of divvy up the rest of the page and guide a user's attention. Then finally, you've got your paragraph or your P tags. You don't want to use really decorative text for this. It might look cool, but it kills readability. Last is images, but here's what most web designers miss. Images aren't just decorations. Everyone you choose should have a purpose and a meaning. So be thoughtful about what you pick. Random people smiling at you isn't helping a website. It just makes it look unintentional. So instead, use images that either make users feel something or help to gain their trust. And please make sure that the colors of the photo match the colors of the site. That's a telltale sign that the person who made the website didn't know what they were doing. But here's the thing, good design without good conversion practices doesn't actually help your clients. I designed a website a while back for a client and the result was way better than their old website. It was clean, it was modern, it was chef's kiss. The problem was when we launched it, sales plummeted. Why did that happen? It's because I tried to make it look pretty instead of focusing on good conversion practices. If your design doesn't consider conversion, it's actually useless to your clients. Good conversion is all about reducing friction for users. You want to make it stupid easy for users to know who the company is, what they should do next, like go buy a product or fill out a form. But you also want to lean into why someone should care in the first place. It's not just enough to be pretty. It's not just enough to be scannable. You actually need to speak to the heart of the user. Speak to the thing that's driving them to say yes. And that all comes from knowing who the ideal client is. Something that I've learned over a lot of years of doing this is fancy designs are mostly made for designers, not users. It doesn't matter if you love the design. It doesn't even matter if your client loves the design. Who does it matter for? The website visitors. So do a little research. Who's actually using the website? Typography, colors, layout, images. Choose them based on the target audience and not personal preference. Finally, make sure that you never stop learning. Web designers don't age like fine wine, okay? We age like a loaf of bread left on the counter. We go stale unless we keep learning. The web design industry is changing fast. AI is doing something crazy and new every couple of days. Don't let it scare you, but make sure to challenge yourself and stay updated so you don't fall too far behind. The only way to stay valuable is to keep learning, keep adjusting, and keep leveling up. You might say, this is great. I don't even have a web design client yet. Thankfully, I've got another video that shows you how to do just that. Make sure that you like this video if it was helpful, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Don't forget, if you don't quit, you win.